you mentioned the thing about the Russian vodka, and I listen. I don't want to sound like I'm some puppet for Putin, but he called out the Church of England for trying to make God non-binary. So it's funny how Putin can do stuff like that, and if you call it out, if you say, "Oh, that's good," then all of a sudden you're a Putin puppet. So how do you kind of measure that, Roger, where you're not some sort of ideologue Russian lover, but still respect somebody for not being socially woke like society is right now?
I hate to say it, but I think being, being a Christian and being white is probably safer right now in Russia than it is in the United States.
Wow.
Now, immediately people will run out and say, "Oh, you're a puppet for Putin. You're a Russophile. You're a Russian spy. You're a Russian intelligence asset." No, actually, I had relatives mowed down by Russian tanks in Budapest in 1956. I have no use for Putin. He's an authoritarian punk, but he is not subscribing to the New World Order. And he does recognize that this country signed a treaty with Russia in 1994, signed by Ronald Reagan for the United States, Gorbachev for the Soviets, in which we agreed that Ukraine would be a neutral buffer zone, that we would not try to drop offensive Western funded NATO missiles pointed at Russia, of course, into Ukraine. So this war is actually in violation of a treaty that we signed. That's just a fact. That doesn't make me a pro Russian. I'm not pro Russian, but I'm also not pro World War III.
Well, of course, but Roger, don't you think World War III is basically inevitable because they could have negotiated their way out of this? I believe that Russia even wanted to negotiate, but you have NATO and all the Western allies, even Germany, who gets all their freaking energy from Russia, wants to start a proxy war with Russia. Why is this? Is this just the New World Order finally coming to effect? That the Cold War has now become hot?
I think that's exactly what it is. In other words, this idea that this is about Russia wanting to occupy Ukraine, I don't think that's accurate. I think it's about Putin acting defensively against not only missiles that threaten him or these bioweapon labs that the Biden administration essentially blurted out really do exist, and then they tried to take it back. How is this different than the Russians dropping missiles in Cuba 90 miles from our shore in 1962? President Kennedy and America did not react well to that. But of course, if you go out and you state this alternative narrative, well, you're immediately accused of being, a Russian spy or a Russian asset. It's absurd. Here's what I do know: the president of the United States, instead of being in Ukraine, should be in East Palestine, Ohio.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself why.